Like with most games in the Soulsborne series, FromSoft doesn't really give us much backstory about our own character before throwing us into the deep end with Elden Ring. We are a Tarnished, of no renown, who's given grace and told to go forth and become Elden Lord. And that's pretty much it, right? Well, apparently not, because according to this video from a Japanese Elden Ring YouTuber, there's some clues that everyone has missed that suggest our Tarnished is a demigod child of Marika. Let's talk about it. Zaif the Scholar here, and as some of you guys might know from watching my videos, I speak a bit of Japanese. And that means I sometimes watch Japanese lore content. And as you might expect, there's quite a bit of overlap in terms of popular theories between the English and Japanese-speaking communities, since everyone is playing the same game for the most part, after all. But what you may not know is that there are a number of theories that are unique to the Japanese lore community that I think haven't really been discussed outside of it. And so for today's video, I thought I would break down and share a really interesting theory from a Japanese creator named Tomato-chan, that to my knowledge hasn't been brought up in the English-speaking community, even though he posted his video about 2 years ago now. So the theory I present here is 100% Tomato-chan's, but I have added some information in places to bolster the theory where relevant, and I'll link to his original video in the description so you can check it out for yourself. Okay, so as I mentioned in the intro, his theory starts with a bold claim. Our Tarnished is actually a demigod. And according to Tomato-chan, the game's opening cinematic actually provides us with hints, specifically audible clues, that this is the case. So let's watch the scene in question and see if we can hear what Tomato-chan is talking about.
And one other, whom grace would again bless, a Tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between, to stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
Did you notice anything? It's really faint, and I'd be lying if I said I noticed anything before Tomato-chan pointed it out. But I want you to listen again and try to pay attention for 3 things. Bell sounds, giant stomping footsteps, and a strange, almost animal-like cry. I'll do my best to isolate and amplify these sounds for you in post to make it a bit easier to hear. Okay, so now that you've hopefully heard it, do these noises sound familiar to you at all? Bell sounds. Giant footsteps. And an unusual animal-like cry. These are the sounds of the walking mausoleums. Now I won't take the time to go into full detail on what the walking mausoleums are, since Ratatoskr has already covered that quite well in this video in the card. But the important thing here is that the mausoleums are said to house the corpses of Marika's soulless, unwanted children. We learn as much from this stranded spirit here at the Church of Pilgrimage in the Weeping Peninsula, who says, "The mausoleum prowls, cradling the soulless demigod. O Marika, Queen Eternal, he is your unwanted child." Even though it's only 2 lines, these are pretty significant in terms of lore implications. But one thing I want to clarify though is that I've seen quite a few people read into the use of the he pronoun here, and speculate that the spirit might be referring to Godwyn. And so I want to bring up the original Japanese text here, because although the translation is quite good, there are a couple of choices that I find slightly questionable. 霊廟がさまよっている。魂なきデミゴッドを抱いて、おう、永遠の女王マリカよ。あなたの醜い落とし子を抱いて。It's particularly this last line that the official translation seems to take some liberties with. Notice that the original Japanese doesn't include the pronoun he at all. And for some reason the translation leaves out the word otoshigo, or illegitimate child, entirely. I actually went ahead and checked with a native Japanese speaker friend just to be sure, and they agreed that a more accurate translation would be something like, "O Marika, Queen Eternal, your unsightly illegitimate child." And to me, this illegitimate child part seems like a pretty significant thing to leave out, because it tells us that whoever these demigods in the mausoleums are, they were conceived between Marika and an unofficial consort, so someone other than Radagon or Godfrey. And this therefore definitively rules out any speculation that the spirit is referring to Godwyn here. But that does make me wonder though, who fathered these children with Marika? Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas there. Now, importantly, the mausoleums were not meant to serve as permanent graves for these soulless demigods, but rather as temporary resting places where their bodies could be guarded before eventually being revived. We, for example, are told about Headless Lutel, a knight and leader of the mausoleum soldiers, who sacrificed her life so that in death she could continue to protect a soulless demigod until their revival. And so, putting everything together, why is it that we hear mausoleum noises when we start the game? Well, reasons Tomato-chan, we're hearing the sounds that surround us upon our rebirth into the lands between. Our Tarnished of no renown is actually being reborn from a walking mausoleum, and therefore must be an illegitimate child of Marika and a demigod in their own right. And while this might seem crazy at first, when you accept this as a possibility, a lot of other things start to make sense. Why, for example, is our Tarnished able to slay powerful demigods, lay claim to their great runes, and eventually even kill a supernatural entity like the Elden Beast, and become Elden Lord? Is it because this is a video game and we're the main character? Or is it because we're Marika's once dead demigod child, brought back to life and beckoned to greatness?
In Marika's own words, "Hear me, demigods. My children, beloved, make of thyselves that which ye desire. Be it a lord, be it a god, but should ye fail to become aught at all, ye will be forsaken, amounting only to sacrifices."
Definitely something to think about at least. But that does still leave us with a lot of questions. Like, why do we not start the game inside of a walking mausoleum? Who fathered our Tarnished with Marika? And what does headlessness and the eclipse have to do with all of this? Honestly, I have no idea, but I'm curious to know if you have any thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. It helps out the channel a lot, and I genuinely appreciate it. And hey, I'd also appreciate it if you considered supporting my content by becoming a patron, a YouTube member, or just buying me a coffee. The Shadow of the Erdtree DLC is right around the corner, guys, and I'm seriously hyped to play it, as well as to make more content for you guys to enjoy. Thanks a ton for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.